I also took long on the multiple choice and the natural colors.
You mustn't.
Hard.
No, why?
Don't you find it difficult? Like the multiple choice, some of them I was like, oh, I did this.
Yeah, the one with the blood level, the blood sugar level.
Yeah,
I guess.
Okay. You've got to remember, I said this thing long ago. I have no memory of what was
What
it.
did you say when it was like this associated with this? There was mouth starch digestion, kid
I think I
liver,
said.
liver bacillation. I said it's more intestine.
Okay, right, let's go, let's go.
Man, I think I'm going to do bad in that test. And I'm super
Badly.
Badly in that test, and I'm super upset.
Yeah, me too.
Because I studied for so long.
Yeah, even before the test, like we ended up like finessing the way to get our
We
teachers to
literally
give us
split in every lesson.
time to study.
And I studied from Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and Tuesday the whole day.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to do super badly.
Yeah.
And I'm really upset.
Me
You
too.
know how red it makes my eyes when I cry.
And I'm really and I'm going to cry when I get this test
Yeah,
back.
let's see, I can already see it's 68%.
Yeah,
Every time you know I do value-wise, it's 68.
Okay, I'll try really hard to make it 68.
No,
That makes you happy.
You can try to make it 80.
Right. Okay, guys, are you there? Or have you all gone? They are there. Okay. Right, so let's go, let's go.
What's that stuff for?
What's that?
The
Velcro, genetic engineering. Okay, right, so going. Okay, guys, I'm going to be using this and using my board, so you've got to tell me when I must turn the thing around, okay? I've never had 9 kids on the Google Meet in my life before. What are they all doing here? What are you all doing here? Put your videos on, you little brats, so that I can see you.
Tell them that.
Ma'am, everyone see my hair. It's not looking good, ma'am.
Who's that answering?
It's really
Emily.
Emily. Come in, let's see your hair, my child.
Ma'am, you really don't want to. You
I
really
do.
don't want to.
I do. I've got to wear a mask that makes my hair stick up in every direction. Come, let's see this hair, Emily. Let's see it. I mean, you have no idea, you can't see Tony. But trust me, after Tony, everybody else looks good.
Yeah.
I know, I see Tony's cat. It's so cute. Oh my word, Emily. I can see what you're saying. Emily's hair is all over the ship.
Is that Izzy's doctor?
Hello.
Hi.
Is this one little person?
I've got 2 kids in the class today. Where's Jade? I can't see Jade. Okay.
I'm here, ma'am.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Okay, right. Lesson time. Okay, so starting the spinal cord. So remember that the spinal cord exits the cranium through the medulla oblongata, and that's going to be important next year when you deal with evolution. Okay, you've got to remember that.
That's a wrong name.
What did I say?
Medulla oblongata.
Sorry, I'm drunk. I meant foreign magnets.
Sniffing that.
Okay. All right. So I don't feel like teaching.
Don't!
Look, we've got 9 kids here. Okay, high school fees to do this. Okay, so the spinal cord is a cylindrical nerve cord which forms part of the central nervous system. And it's enclosed in the neural canal of the vertebrae. Do you guys remember what the neural canal of the vertebra is?
I'm going to guess the whole.
Yeah, so this then is a vertebral bone, but you've got to get it in perspective. So let's presume there's an individual facing this way, and I take a vertebral bone out of their back and I turn it like that. Okay, so that's what you're looking at here. A vertebral bone which has been taken out of somebody who's facing in that direction and turned up that way, so that this is one of the little bumps that you can feel on your back. Okay?
The
Right.
top bit. The top bit. The top.
Yeah, this thing. So this is one of the little bumps you feel here.
Oh.
Okay. The neural spine or the spinous process. And then this is the big body of the vertebra, which is towards the individual tummy, and going all the way down, all those vertebral bones, is a central, a neural canal, a hole that runs all the way down, and there's the spinal cord that runs in that neural canal. Okay, I'll come back to this drawing, but let's just put some more things into perspective. So if you look here, what you can see is that the spinal cord continues from the medulla oblongata in the brain, and it carries on down through that neural canal all the way down to the bottom of the lumbar region. And after that, there isn't any really spinal tissue there. There's no spinal cord there. What you can see here is that between successive vertebrae, okay, so if you've got two vertebral bones on top of each other, because that's what the vertebral column is, a whole series of vertebral bones, there lies the spinal cord. These are the bumps that you feel in your back. And what you can see is that between successive vertebrae, so between this vertebra and that vertebra, is what is called a spinal nerve, a mixed spinal nerve. So you can see a spinal nerve there and a spinal nerve there, and there's going to be another one on the other side. So if we go back, you can see here that there are spinal nerves, paired spinal nerves, that leave the spinal cord between successive vertebrae. Okay, right. So the spinal cord is surrounded by the three meninges, just as the brain is. And remember that those meninges are continuous around the brain and around the spinal cord. And remember that the cerebrospinal fluid that is found between the arachnoid and the pia mater is continuous around the brain and around the spinal cord. It's funny, I feel like I'm talking to myself. It's really weird. So don't learn all these labeled parts. I just need to show you certain things on this particular drawing. So if you have a look at the spinal cord, and this is towards the person's back and this is towards the person's tummy, then what you can see is the three meninges around the spinal cord, just like that, three meninges around the brain, dura mater, arachnoid, and pia mater. You can also see that going all the way down the center is the central canal, and that's filled with cerebrospinal fluid. And remember that that's continuous with the fourth ventricle in the brain. So remember that ventricle 1, ventricle 2, ventricle 3 in the middle, ventricle 4 down here, and that continued down as the central canal. You can also see that there is what is called a fissure, and that's a deep groove that lies down the dorsal part of the spinal cord, and a much narrower, a wider, less deep, shallower, there's the word, ventral fissure here. Don't obsess about it. What you can see here is you can see the spinal nerve. Now what you can see is that that spinal nerve splits just outside the spinal cord, and it forms what is called a dorsal root, okay, R-O-O-T, dorsal root, and the ventral root, and I'm going to talk about the dorsal and the ventral root just now. And then outside there, the dorsal and ventral root join together, and that forms a single nerve. Okay, does that make sense, guys? Yeah. Okay. Then what you also have to know in this picture is, if one considers the spinal nerves. The spinal nerves consist of unipolar sensory neurons that bring impulses in towards the spinal cord. They all go through the dorsal root and into the spinal cord. Inside the spinal cord, there are synapses, and motor neurons come out through the ventral root and off they go. So basically what I'm saying to you is, Emma, I can see you sleeping.
Yay, Emma!
Okay, so she's moved out of the picture.
Roar.
Okay, so considering that here's the spinal cord, okay, there will be mixed spinal nerves, and the mixed spinal nerves have got unipolar sensory neurons transmitting impulses in towards the spinal cord. They go through the dorsal root and into the spinal cord. In the spinal cord, there are synapses with interneurons, and those synapses with motor neurons, which leave through the ventral root and go out through to the spinal nerves. Okay, so there are neurons lying on this plane. Okay, so it's back to front breaststroke. And neurons lying on this plane. Okay, but in addition to that, there are also neurons which lie vertically. So those are neurons which they lie upwards or downwards. And those neurons transmit impulses either towards the brain or away from the brain and then out through a spinal nerve. Okay, so there are a whole lot of things going on here. There are neurons which are bringing impulses in towards the spinal cord. There are neurons which transmit impulses out from the spinal cord. And then totally at right angles to that, there are neurons which transmit impulses up towards the brain, and there are neurons which transmit impulses down from the brain. Then remember that the longest part of any neuron is an axon, and remember that axons are surrounded by myelin sheaths and therefore are white matter. So if you look here, what you will see is this is white matter, white matter, white matter, white matter, white matter. And here is grey matter. And I'm going to show you in a different slide why that is. Which was the best slide for us? Here, you can see it. Okay. So what you can see is this is spinal nerve, it's mixed. This sensory unipolar neurons all go this way, and they go into the spinal cord. They synapse with the interneurons in the spinal cord, and here are the multipolar motor neurons. They're not mixed, transmitting impulses out of the spinal cord. So this is lying on this plane, okay? Then you can see that the white matter consists of axons of neurons that are traveling up or down the spinal cord, and they are white matter. So they lie on a totally different plane to these neurons. That makes sense, ladies? Unmute your mics and tell me.
Yes, ma'am, makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You two okay?
Yes, we're good, ma'am.
Good. Okay. All right, so blah, 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 blah. Okay. I have to explain why there's a little bump here. Okay. See this bump here and this bump here? It's only on the dorsal root, it's not on the ventral root. And it's called a dorsal root ganglion. And the reason why it's there is because that's where all the cell bodies of the sensory neurons lie. So here is a mixed spinal nerve, and all the sensory neurons, remember, go through the dorsal root. So outside the spinal cord, oh, bad. Okay, I'll do it this way around. All the cell bodies lie at the same spot of all these neurons. So if there are 25 neurons here, then 25 cell bodies lie together at the same spot. And that's why the nerve is swollen at that point. Okay, so that is the dorsal root ganglion. Okay. And then this would be motor multipolar neurons transmitting impulses in that direction. So this part here is a mixed nerve because it's got both sensory neurons transmitting impulses that way and multipolar neurons transmitting impulses that way. But the dorsal root has only got unipolar sensory neurons, which are transmitting impulses in towards the spinal cord, and then between the spinal cord, there's the central canal, okay, white matter, grey matter. So this is grey matter, and this is white matter. And within the spinal cord, these sensory neurons synapse with little multipolar interneurons, which synapse with the multipolar motor neurons leaving the spinal cord. Okay, does that make sense? So, sensory unipolar neurons, multipolar interneurons, multipolar motor neurons. So this ventral root is only the multipolar motor neurons. Okay, ladies?
Cool. Now you have a cycle test paper, like the question paper in there. Can I see it quick?
I have to find it. Why?
I just want to see the one question real fast. Well, ma'am, your test. Why is your test so messy?
This is nothing. At home I have 5 desks. Every time it gets dangerous and high, I move another desk into my study.
So messy.
Life is not good. Right, bye-bye ladies. See you tomorrow.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you, you too. Bye.
End of choice 2, lesson 1, 1st of July 2020.